Elon Musk sat alone in his dimly lit study, the soft hum of Tesla's AI assistant the only sound in the massive room. The digital clock on his desk read 2 a.m. He had barely slept in days, buried under endless work, but something about this night felt off. Then his phone vibrated, a call from an unknown number. He almost ignored it, but a gut feeling made him swipe to answer. The moment he did, a choked sob filled the line. A voice he hadn't heard in years, Justine. "Elon," she whispered. I didn't know who else to call." His entire body tensed. Why was she crying? They had been through everything. Marriage, divorce, heartbreak. But this wasn't about them. Something was very, very wrong. "What happened?" His voice was sharp, controlled, but inside his heart pounded. There was a pause. Then, between shallow breaths, she spoke. "It's Nevada." Everything stopped. Nevada. Their firstborn. The son they lost. But that was years ago. A lifetime ago. He was gone. So why was she saying his name now? Elon stood up so fast his chair nearly toppled over. "What are you talking about?" I need to show you something. Please, just come." Her voice cracked. "You need to see it with your own eyes." Every logical part of his brain screamed no. This was insane. A ghost from the past. An illusion. But the raw, shaking fear in her voice shredded his logic to pieces. "I'm on my way," he said. Within minutes, his Tesla was gliding through the empty streets of L.A. The city lights blurred past, but his mind was stuck in the past. Nevada had died as a baby. It was the one thing he had never been able to fix. No money, no power, no technology could bring him back. So why did it feel like he was about to witness the impossible? As he pulled up to the address she had sent, his stomach twisted. A small, run-down research facility, barely visible in the darkness. His headlights swept over Justine, standing by the entrance. Her face was pale. Her hands trembled. And in that moment, Elon knew whatever was inside that building would change everything. Elon stepped out of the car, barely noticing the cold night air. His eyes locked onto Justine, who looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Tell me what's going on," he demanded, his voice sharper than intended. She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and pushed open the heavy steel door, motioning for him to follow. The second he stepped inside, he felt it. Something was off. The air smelled sterile, artificial. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting eerie shadows on the linoleum floor. Justine led him down a dimly lit corridor, past rooms filled with high-tech monitors and medical equipment. Finally, they reached a heavy metal door with a biohazard symbol plastered across it. Justine hesitated, her fingers trembling as she punched in a security code. The lock clicked. The door swung open, and Elon's world tilted. Inside the room was a small hospital bed, surrounded by machines humming softly. But Elon didn't care about any of that. His eyes locked onto the child lying in the bed. A boy, no older than 3, his chest rising and falling in deep, even breaths. His face was unmistakable. It was Nevada. Elon felt his body go rigid, his breath hitched, his mind screamed impossible. But there he was, alive, breathing, real. Every muscle in Elon's body tightened as he turned to Justine. "What is this?" His voice was barely a whisper. Tears streamed down her face. "They brought him back." The words made no sense. Nevada had died. Elon had held him in his arms, felt the helplessness of knowing nothing in the world could save him. And yet, standing here now, he couldn't deny what was right in front of him. How? His voice cracked, something between rage and desperate hope. Justine swallowed hard. "It's experimental. A private research project. They reached out to me months ago. I didn't know how to tell you." Elon's head spun. His logical mind fought against the sheer impossibility of it. But another part of him, the father in him, wanted to believe. his hands clenched into fists. "This is human cloning, isn't it?" Justine didn't answer, but the look in her eyes said everything. Elon turned back to the bed, staring at the small sleeping child, his son. But was it really? Or was it something else entirely? A cold realization crept over him. If this was possible, what else had they done? Elon's mind raced. He stood frozen, staring at the boy in the bed. Nevada. But it wasn't possible. His son had died. He remembered the hospital room, the doctors, the machines going silent. Yet here he was, breathing, peaceful, unchanged, as if time had never touched him. Justine wiped her face, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know how this looks. I know what you're thinking. But I've been coming here for months, Elon. I've seen him wake up. I've talked to him. He's real." Elon's breath felt shallow. Every part of him screamed no. This wasn't science. This was something else, something beyond anything he had ever imagined. "Who did this?" His voice was steady, but his hands were clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Justine hesitated, looking toward the security cameras in the corners of the room. "It's a project," she finally said. "A classified one. They reached out to me a year ago. Said they were working on something that could—" She swallowed. "Correct nature's mistakes." A sharp wave of anger shot through Elon. "Correct?" His voice dropped, dangerously low. "My son wasn't a mistake." She stepped closer, desperate. "That's not what I meant. They wanted to prove it could be done. I didn't believe them either, but then they showed me." She looked down at the sleeping boy, her voice breaking. "And when I saw him, I couldn't walk away." Elon's stomach twisted. "You let them experiment on our son?" Justine's eyes burned. "I didn't let them do anything. I fought. I questioned everything. But then I heard him speak, Elon. He remembered me." She wiped at her tears roughly. "He remembers things he shouldn't. He asked about his brothers. She stopped, shaking her head. "You don't understand what this means." Elon turned toward the boy, studying every inch of his small, sleeping face. It was perfect. Too perfect. He reached out, hesitating just before touching the child's hand. He needed to know. Needed to feel warmth, skin, something real. His fingertips brushed against the boy's wrist. Warm. Real. His stomach dropped. Nevada's eyelids fluttered. And then, for the first time in years, Elon heard a voice he never thought he'd hear again. "Daddy?" His breath caught in his throat. His whole body locked up. And in that moment, Elon Musk, the man who had built rockets, created entire industries, reshaped the future, felt fear like never before. Because if Nevada was really back, then what had they done to bring him here? Elon's chest tightened. His mind screamed for logic, for an explanation that made sense. But nothing did. Nevada was awake, speaking. His voice was soft, groggy, like he'd just woken from a long nap. But it was him. The same little boy he had lost all those years ago. Elon knelt beside the bed, his hand hovering over Nevada's. He was afraid to touch him again, afraid that if he did, the illusion would shatter. But then Nevada blinked up at him, his tiny fingers reaching out. "Daddy." His voice was uncertain, like he wasn't sure if what he was seeing was real either. Elon swallowed hard and took his son's hand. Warm. Software. Alive. His throat felt tight. "I'm here," he managed. The words felt foreign, like they belonged to a version of himself he had buried long ago. Nevada's small fingers tightened around his, and for the first time in years, Elon felt something break inside him. Justine was watching, tears streaking her face. "He remembers you," she whispered. "He remembers us." Elon forced himself to breathe. He turned to her, his mind racing. "How?" His voice was sharp, urgent. "How is this possible?" Justine hesitated. Then she stepped to the side, revealing a small monitor near the bed. A black screen flickered to life, showing lines of code, brain scans, and something that made Elon's blood run cold, his own company's technology. Elon's stomach dropped. "What the hell is this?" Justine wiped her face, voice shaking. "They used your research, Elon, the neural interfaces, the memory mapping prototypes you abandoned years ago. Someone took your work and—" She swallowed. They brought him back. Elon's pulse pounded in his ears. He had spent years developing brain-machine interfaces, mapping the human mind, pushing the limits of technology. But he had never crossed this line, never even considered it. This wasn't just science. This was something else, something dangerous. His hands clenched into fists. Who did this? Justine hesitated. "You already know," she said quietly. Elon's stomach twisted. A name formed in his mind before she could even say it. Project Eternum. He had heard whispers, rumors of a secret program pushing the boundaries of life itself. He had dismissed it as impossible. But now, staring at his son, his living son, he realized the truth. They had done the impossible. They had resurrected the dead, and now they were watching. Elon's grip on Nevada's hand tightened as his mind raced. This wasn't just about science or ethics anymore. This was personal. He turned to Justine, his voice sharp. "Where's the lab? Who's behind this?" She hesitated, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a small flash drive. "Everything is on here," she said. "But Elon, listen to me. This goes deeper than you think." He snatched the drive and plugged it into his phone, scanning the files. Names, research logs, test subjects. His stomach twisted. Project Eternum wasn't just about bringing Nevada back. They had been experimenting on others, refining their methods, perfecting their ability to manipulate human consciousness. His pulse thundered. How long has he been like this? Justine's lips trembled. "A few weeks. They told me he'd wake up as himself, that his memories would return over time. But Elon, he remembers everything. He remembers you. He remembers dying." Elon's breath caught. Nevada was watching him, his small face filled with something far too old for a child. "Daddy," he said again, softer this time. "They told me you were coming." A cold wave crashed over Elon. "Who?" Nevada blinked as if recalling something from a dream. Then he whispered, "The people in the dark." Elon's skin prickled. His eyes darted back to the screen, scanning the data. There it was, covert funding, classified projects, ties to organizations even he didn't recognize, but one name stood out. Echelon Industries. Elon's jaw clenched. He had dealt with them before. Shadowy investors with an interest in the bleeding edge of human enhancement. But this was beyond anything he'd imagined. Then his phone buzzed, an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A voice, calm and calculated, spoke on the other end. "Mr. Musk, we need to talk." Elon's blood turned to ice. Elon's grip on the phone tightened. "Who is this?" A brief pause. Then the voice replied, "Someone who knows what you're about to do, and someone who strongly advises against it." Elon's mind raced. The data on that drive was dangerous, but now it was clear. Someone was watching him, tracking his every move. He glanced at Justine, who was holding Nevada close, her face pale. "You took something that wasn't meant to be found, Mr. Musk," the voice continued. "But we can make this easy. Walk away, forget what you saw, and no one gets hurt." Elon exhaled sharply, forcing his voice to remain steady. "And if I don't?" A low chuckle. "Then you'll find out what happens when you cross people with real power." The call ended. The room felt suffocating. Justine looked at him, fear in her eyes. "Elon, what do we do?" He looked down at Nevada, at the child who should have never existed again but somehow did. His decision was made. We end this. He pulled out his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. Firewalls, encrypted networks, none of it would protect him for long, but he needed to expose this before they got to him first. He uploaded the files, bypassing security systems, sending everything to multiple journalists and whistleblowers. The world needed to see this. Then a loud thud outside. Footsteps, shadows moving past the windows. "They're here," Justine whispered. Elon reached for the emergency security panel. Lockdowns activated, barriers sealed. But he knew they wouldn't hold for long. He turned to Justine. "Take Nevada. Get out through the tunnel." She shook her head. "Not without you." Another bang. This time the door shook. Elon grabbed her hand, pressing something into her palm. A small device. "It's a tracker. I'll find you. But right now, you need to run." The door burst open. Black-clad figures flooded in. Justine clutched Nevada and ran toward the hidden exit. Elon turned to face the intruders, fists clenched. He wasn't going down without a fight. The intruders moved fast, but Elon was faster. He grabbed a metal rod from the desk and swung hard, catching one of them in the ribs. The man staggered back, but another lunged forward, slamming Elon against the wall. He fought back, elbowing the attacker in the face, but he was outnumbered. A sharp pain exploded in his side, a stun baton. His knees buckled. One of the men grabbed him by the collar, shoving him into a chair. A figure stepped forward, tall, composed, with an air of quiet authority. "Mr. Musk," the man said smoothly, "you really don't know when to stop, do you?" Elon spat blood onto the floor. "If you're going to threaten me, at least be original." The man smirked. "Threaten you?" "No, Mr. Musk. We're here to offer you a choice." He pulled out a small tablet and placed it on the desk. "You retract everything. Say it was all a misunderstanding, that the files were fake. Do that, and you walk away." Elon stared at the screen. A pre-written statement, ready to be sent to every media outlet. A complete reversal of the truth. "And if I don't?" The man sighed. "Then we take away everything. Your companies, your reputation, your family." He paused. "Your son." Elon's stomach turned to ice. He gripped the arms of the chair, rage boiling under the surface. "If you touch them, I swear—" "You'll do what, exactly?" The man leaned in. "You built rockets, Elon. But we built the system you live in. And we decide who stays in it." Elon glanced at the security feed in the corner of the screen. Justine was gone. Nevada was safe. That was all that mattered. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to appear defeated. "Fine. You win." The man smiled, pleased. "Smart choice." He slid the tablet toward Elon. "Now, sign." Elon picked up the stylus, holding it above the screen for a fraction of a second. Then, in one swift motion, he smashed it against the edge of the desk, sending sparks flying. The room plunged into darkness. Before the intruders could react, Elon launched himself forward, knocking over the nearest guard. Alarms blared. Backup security protocols kicked in. Electronic doors sealing. Power surges frying communication lines. Chaos erupted. He sprinted toward the emergency exit, dodging hands grabbing for him. He reached the hidden panel behind a bookshelf, fingers typing in the override code. The wall slid open just enough for him to slip through. Running down the dimly lit corridor, he knew he had only seconds before they'd regroup. He wasn't safe yet, but he had one advantage. They underestimated him. As he emerged into the night, a single thought pushed him forward. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. And whoever was behind this, they had no idea what was coming for them.